What's up everyone, it's Bones here. In today's video, I'll be featuring a replay with the new Runick cards that came out in Tactical Masters just recently. But before I begin, if you happen to enjoy content like this, clicking on those thumbs up and subscribe buttons would be greatly appreciated, as they go a long way in supporting the channel and show me that you like content like this. So, to begin, we'll see that the player in blue is going to win the rock, paper, scissors, and he's not going to be playing just any regular Runick deck. He's going to be playing Spright Runick, as we see the tip and the Spright stuff in his hand, and we'll see a normal summon of the jet, which will then have the blue summon itself with the addition of another jet. The jet can then special summon itself, get its effect, add the starter. From there we can see a gigantic Spright, and we'll see that here as he's going to use its effect to special summon a swap most likely, and that swap will then use its effect to send the Ronin. From there we'll see a link away into Elf, and from there we'll see the Elf get its effect, special summoning the Swap Frog. The Swap Frog will use effect and sending another Swap Frog for the Ronin to banish it and special summon itself back for the Toad here, as we'll see the Toad summoned. And from here we'll see the player in blue set 2 and pass, as the player in red top decks the Rivalry. And we'll see that the Runick tip is going to come down here, banishing a copy of Jet and adding a Runick Fountain. And we're going to see the Toad negate the Fountain, which I don't think is bad here, because we're seeing that some players are opting to play 2 of the Runick Fountain. So if Toad steals it, then it just takes away a resource from them, and they're left to potentially one field spell, as we see the starter chained to the terraforming as well as the Elf here. And we'll see that the starter is going to special summon the Carrot as the Elf summons the Jet. And from there we'll see the addition of Mine. The Jet can use its effect. And we'll see a chain of Freezing Curse, which will be met by a Carrot negation. And we'll see an addition of Smashers as the Mine comes down, and a set 3. So we'll see a top deck tip as we see a normal summon of Swap, and then we see a Runick tip here. And from here we're going to see an add and a banish. And we'll see that the banish is the Rivalry. We'll then see a Smashers, which will out the Mystic Mine, but before that we're going to see a Rivalry, and we're going to see that he sends the Swap Frog and the Gigantic Spright, but I don't think he realizes the Gigantic Spright is also a Thunder, unless he used the Carrot and I missed something. I'm unsure about that. If I missed something there, let me know, but I'm pretty sure the Gigantic Spright should still be on field unless he was doing something with Carrot. I'm unsure. And we'll see that the set 2 is going to come down here, as we're going to see a Destruction top deck and set. From there we'll see a Ghost Ogre top deck. Spright Elf will use its effect, which, as they see here, the Giant Spright shouldn't be removed. And that's exactly what's going to happen, as we're going to see the Gigantic Spright come back, and we'll see the special summon of blue there. And the blue will then get the add of Spright Red. The Spright Red will then special summon itself, and now we'll just see damage. Here, unfortunately, Spright isn't the greatest deck at OTKing, and putting out damage is one of their weak points. But we'll see that a Runick tip is going to be top decked here. As you see, the Rivalry is not just doing much, because a lot of the Spright stuff is Thunder. And we'll see that the Runick Destruction is going to summon the Fangs. And from there, we'll see that the Spright player is going to click a nib. So a lot of hand traps from the Spright player, as we see a special summon of blue, as we're going to see the red use its effect to stop the Fangs. And from here we'll see a Storm be chained to the attack declaration, as that's going to special summon out another Fangs, but as you see he can't because of the Gigantic Spright, as he does have the wings to still go into, as it's a level 2. And we'll see that the Runick Destruction is going to summon yet another one of it. So he actually can't do that because he already used one Destruction. So he's actually putting both back, and I don't know why. So I think that was a misclick, unless I'm missing something. Oh no, it's because of the effect to recur. So we'll see that the player in red is going to scoop, and I'll take you on to game 2. So on to game 2 here, and we in red opened pretty nuts with the Golem, the Mystic Mine, the Terraforming, the Demise of the Land. A lot of ways to get to Mystic Mine, but we'll see that the Jet is going to come down off the starter, which will then see a blue special summon, and that will add the Carrot, and from there we'll see a gigantic Spright, and the gigantic Spright will then special summon the Toad, the Swap Frog. The Swap Frog can use its effect, sending the Ronin. Then we'll see a Link Away for the Elf. The Elf can then special summon back the Swap Frog. The Swap Frog its effect, sending another Swap Frog for the Ronin. The Ronin will special summon itself, and now he has a Toad, in which now he can set 3 here, special summon the Carrot, and end his turn as we see a Dimensional Fissure also, as we see the activation of it. And that's going to be hit by the Toad, which will also steal it. And the Swap Frog is going to be added back off the Toad, which will then see the Spright Jet use its effect to bring back the Jet. And the Jet will add another starter here, as we're going to see Lava Golem come out, tributing the Care on the Lava Golem. And from here we'll see a Terraforming, which will add 1 copy of Mystic Mine. And from here we'll see a starter come down as we get a special summon of the blue here. And this is one way to play Mystic Mine Burn, but we'll see that the Destruction is going to come down here as he also mills 4 there. And see the Mystic Mine activation with a top deck Lightning Storm, which is painful to see. And we're just going to see top deck mode here as the Prosperity is drawn. And at this point, I think you gotta go 6 because you just need to see an out. As we're going to see another Pot of Prosperity added here, and it's not looking too good for the Spright player here, simply because there's another Lava Golem waiting, and we'll see that the Runick Destruction is going to be top decked, as we're going to see a set 3, which is interesting, and we'll then see a Runick Tip add a Storm here, as the Runick player has things going the way he wants, because with 17 cards left in deck, he can get to deck out territory, as we're going to see a Phoenix come down, a special summon of red, an Exceed summon of Spright, and then we'll see the Destruction pop the Mine here, as we're going to see some attacks, but again, the player in red still has Mystic Mine as we starter come down, and that will add a Jet here, which will then be followed by the Demise of the Land, which will add Mystic Mine, and that brings a pass here as we see a set, and again it's just adding from here as we see the player in blue scoop. We're going on to game 3 here, and I think that the Spright player has the advantage because he goes first here. Or wow, I guess he doesn't. I guess he was really fearing the Mystic Mine, but we'll see that he's going to use the Pot of Prosperity, as he's going to banish 6, and he's going to add the Lightning Storm. The player in red's only hope is the Lava Golem and Mystic Mine now. So we'll see that the Runick Tip is going to use its effect, which will bring out the wings, and he's going to protect there, which will then get a Runick Allure trigger there as a card was banished off the Runick Tip, or banished from deck. And we'll see if is going to get its effect as we see the Rivalry of Warlords. And this is what I meant by the Lightning Storm just being a complete blowout, because from here the Spright player can play through this pretty easily, but the one thing here is that the Lava Golem and the Mystic Mine can put in work depending on what the player in blue ends on, but at the same time, you also have to consider that the Runick Tip can add an out. So we'll see that we're gonna get a Link summon of an Elf here, as we see a special summon back of a Jet, and we're going to see a Gigantic Spright here. The Gigantic Spright will then use its effect, special summoning. Now we have the red, the carrot, and the gigantic Spright along with set 3 here. And we'll see that we're going past just on set 2. And we'll see a 1 day of peace. So again, the carrot will stop the flashing fire there, as we'll see the alert come down. The Mystic Mine will then be activated here, as the player in red top decks the Smiting Storm, and he'll set that, which will then get a flashing fire. And I'm pretty sure that the main reason that we've been kind of seeing these holds here is to avoid not getting done in by having to skip your next battle phase. But we'll see that the destruction is going to try and pop the mine now, as the wings comes out to protect. The player in blue is thinking there, as we'll see the banishing from decks start to happen. And from here we'll get a top deck Runick Dispelling, which will be set. And that the player in blue doesn't want to go through any of his extra deck, or any more of it rather, either, because he still needs to win the game and his opponent has 5,300 life points left. So finally we will see that Pot of Prosperity, as he only banishes 3, and that's going to bring down a Solemn Judgment, which is interesting, as we see the Rune Dispelling here use its effect. And that will hit the Swap Frog and banish 3 from the top of the opponent's deck, setting the Judgment and passing turn. And again, just a lot of passing. This is what you can really expect with Runick here, as it's really just a game of play the outs, and Runick is that provides outs for decks to Mystic Mine, and even has a searcher for the out. So it's something interesting for a deck like Spright to consider, as Spright is very flexible and deal with mine, and Runick is one way to go about it. So we'll see that we're going to get just regular plays here, as we see the summon of the gigantic Spright, and the Runick tip will then try to activate here, as it's met with the Solemn Judgment. And the player in red is going to scoop here, because both gigantic Sprights happen to have 3,200 attack, and this happens to be lethal. Anyways, if you made it this far into the video, I thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed. I've really been waiting on the ban list to kind of dish out more content. It's been hard wanting to make any dedicated content when just in the span of a week it can go to waste. I felt like this was a replay that would also be relevant to the new format. Unless Mystic Mine is gone, of course. Anyways, I'll see you next time. It's Bones, signing out.